Okay, 9.2% and proportions. Before we start on the examples, we need to talk about the percent formula. This is something that you need to memorize. This is something that you'll be writing on your homework problems tonight. So this is the first thing you need to write in your notes today. A over B equals P over 100. This formula forms a proportion. What's a proportion? When one ratio equals the other. Okay? Now, you need to know that A stands for the part. Okay? The key word here is. B stands for the whole. The key word I'm looking for is of. And I'll reiterate that as we go through the lesson. And then P is the percent out of 100. If I tell you that there's a 50% chance of rain today, it's 50% out of what? 100. Out of 100. If I tell you that you scored an 80% on your test, 80% out of what? 100. Out of 100. Every percent is always out of 100. That's why you see in the formula P over 100. That never changes. Okay? I'll give you another minute to go ahead and write this down. All right, now in example 1, okay, well really in all of the examples that we're working today, okay, they all come together under this formula. So we're using this formula to solve for the percent, to solve for the part of the base, and to solve for the base. So we're just solving different parts of the formula. So let's start with the percent. It says what percent? So that's what I'm asking for, asking you to solve for is P. Now here's my key word. Of 3. This tells me that 3 is my base. 3 is the B because of is my key word for base. Of 3 is, which is my key word for the part, 1. So it's 1 over 3 equals P, because I don't know it, over 100. Okay? Again, I'm just using the formula A over B equals P over 100. And I'm plugging in those numbers into the formula. Now I can use cross products to solve this proportion. Now I'm just solving my proportion. 3P equals 100. Divide both sides by 3. And P equals, and we'll just round it to the nearest tenth because this decimal is repeating, 33.3% or 33 1/3%. All right, so I found percent. Now what I'm going to do is pause the recording and I want you to work through the second example before we go over it. All right, so let's work through this. All right, so let's set up the proportion. Okay, I have is over of, A over B. Okay, 18 over 30 equals, I don't know my percent, over 100. It's always over 100. Did you get that much? Yes. Did you set up your proportion correct? Yes. Now you can use your cross products to solve the proportion. 30P equals 1800. Divide both sides by 30. 60%. Very good. P equals, very good, 60% because I'm looking for a percentage. P equals 60%. Okay, so that's how we find the percent part of the percent formula. But what if I'm asked, or what if I'm given this type of expression? They're all going to be together on your homework, and you'll have to figure out what the unknown part is. Okay? Now it says, look at the wording here. What is 32% of 200? So now the unknown part is a different part of the formula. I'm given now the percentage, so again, A over B equals P over 100 is my formula. Now I'm going to plug those numbers in where they go in the formula. Okay, so 32% goes over 100. And now I have of 200. So where does 200 go? On the top or bottom? Top. Of 200. Top. Nope, it goes on the bottom. Of 200, I know that that's my base. What I don't know is my part. Okay? So now that's my unknown. So the only difference between example 1 and 2 is I'm looking to solve a different part of this formula. Now I'm looking to solve the part of the base. I solve the proportion now the exact same way. Now let me also point out that you can solve a proportion using any one of the methods that I taught you last chapter. Do you see a direct connection between 200 and 100? Yes. What is it? Minus. Multiply or divide by? 2, right? Multiply or divide by 2. So you could use equivalent ratios to solve this proportion. For consistency reasons, we're just going to use cross products. But remember, you can use any method to solve these proportions. Okay? 200 times 32 is 6,400 equals 100A. Divide both sides by 100, and A equals 64. Okay? All right, again, I'm going to go ahead and pause it and let y'all work through the second one. Okay, so now let's set up our proportion. Okay? It says, what is 14% of 50? So let's plug in what we know. We know the 14% out of 100. Okay? Anytime it gives us a percentage, plug it in 4% in the formula. Then it says of 50. So I know that that's my base. Of is my keyword for my base. But I don't know the part. Now I can do cross products. Remember, you can use other methods, but cross products is the most consistent across the board as far as working out evenly. 100A equals 700. 700. Divide both sides by 100. And A equals 7.
I was right.
Okay? A equals 7.
Wait, I was right? Oh, that makes more
Maybe.
sense than what I did.
All right. Now, so that's how you find the part of the base. Again, we're using the formula just to find different parts of this proportion. So in the first one, we found percent. In this one, we found part of the base. And then in the third example, we're finding the base. Again, you're going to hear me say this again. Notice the wording. My formula is still the same. A over B equals P over 100. 42 is 30% of what number? Well, here's my of, but it doesn't tell me. So I know that my base is unknown because of is my keyword for base. I know that it's unknown. So I need to set up my proportion 42 over B equals, plug in my percentage, 30 over 100. I can use cross products to get 4,200 equals 30B. Divide both sides by 30. And B equals 140. Okay, one other thing I wanted to bring up is that anytime you find the answer, you can plug it back into your original proportion and cross multiply them, and they should equal each other. 140 times 30 is 4,200. So both sides would equal each other. I know that it forms a proportion and that I got the right answer. Okay, so you can always plug it back in to check it. All right, now I'm going to, again, just pause it so y'all can work through the second example, and then we'll work through it. Okay, so let's set up our proportion. We have the part 70 is 35%, always over 100, of what number? Okay, again, my keyword of tells me that my base is following, and it says what number, so I don't know my base. I can do cross products. 35 times B and 70 times 100. Here's where your calculator kind of saves you a little bit of time. 35B equals 7,000. Divide both sides by 35. And B equals 200. Notice I do not have a percentage in my answer. B is not a percent. It's just a number. The only time I have a percentage in my answer is when I'm solving for P. I'm solving for percent. If you understand everything that we just went over, that's all you need to know for 9.2.